Yeah, that's right. When Rando's not here, it's my show, damn it. Good Saturday evening, everyone. The Hammer here, along with Drew, Heavy Pour Sports, Happy Hour, dropping the hammers, taking over the show, at least till Rando gets here, and I might let him on. Drew, my friend, how are you, brother?
I'm doing well. Another Saturday night, hanging out. Went to Tracy Lawrence concert last night. That was awesome.
Oh yeah, man, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was a great time, and here we are now on Saturday night. So
heck yeah, I was in Nashville over the better part of the weekend, and Mrs. Hammer is a fan of the theater, so we went to Hamilton at the Tennessee Performing Arts Center, and it was tremendous. It was fantastic, fantastic show. So escape the world of sports for a moment, but we're back. It's Saturday, a lot going on. It was a busy week. We had the NBA draft, Tuesday night first round, Wednesday night second round. We'll talk a little bit about that. Played a little soccer this week as well. Not quite the result the U.S. was hoping for, but more or less a meaningless game when you consider the bigger picture. I already had the group wrapped up. Just get those boys onto the knockouts healthy and chalk it up to just not putting our best foot forward against the desert bird out there. And then we'll talk a little bit about the round of 32 and what teams are going to go through there, what teams won their groups, what teams came in runner-up, what 8 teams are going to advance along with the winners and runners-up this year. And then those of you out there that do enjoy a sports wager every now and again, be sure to give Rando hell when I lay out what I was going to share on the show a couple weeks ago, and we ran out of time because we had to talk 47 minutes about a third-string water boy for Kentucky's summer scrimmages. Yeah. Anyway, so Drew, I've flapped my gums enough. Tell us about the NBA draft, where our beloved Cats, Vols, and Louisville's Cardinals, right? Yeah. Those guys. Where everybody went, where they went as far as like draft pick wise, and then we'll just talk a little bit about the draft overall, kind of your general thoughts, maybe on the draft, who won the draft, that kind of thing. There's a lot of trades that happened day 2 that may have some impact on some teams this year, so we'll kind of talk about that as well. But take it away, man.
Yeah, so I guess we'll just start with the Tennessee guys first. Obviously Native Mint. We were live for that first round, and he gets selected 13 to Milwaukee. We talked about it at length draft night. I did a video Wednesday breaking down the first round for the, Kentucky and Tennessee guys. And I think it was a great selection by Milwaukee. I think he fits right into what they want to do in the future, is what it seems like the direction of the organization is going in. I think he fits right in. He'll probably, my guess would be, he'd be a day one starter as of right now when you look at their roster. And, I think, again, it was a great pick for Milwaukee with what they need and what they're, wanting / hoping for. And I think it was a great spot for Native Mint as well. I was a little worried on, I think it was last Saturday, we were talking about the draft, and you kept mentioning Milwaukee seems real. And I was a little bit worried for him, barring we didn't know the package that Milwaukee was going to get back. And it ended up being a lot better than what I even expected it to be. So I'm not saying Milwaukee's going to be competing for a championship next year by any means, but I think with the Ament, you got Tyler Hero, you got Kel'el Ware, Gasparis Yakachonis, Jaime Jaquez, and Milwaukee has a couple pieces that they were able to obviously retain. Who's to say Milwaukee in 2-3 years isn't back competing in the East if Nate Ament turns out to be, very successful and, develops well. So I think it was a great pick for Milwaukee, him going there. And I think it was a great situation for him. He's going to get an opportunity early where, he's going to have a lot of chances. He's going to have the ball in his hands. He's going to be relied on. But you have Tyler Hero there. You have some other pieces where it's not just going to be the full Nate Ament show. That then, sometimes that's where talented kids with high potential like him, that's where their careers go to fail when there's so much relied upon him and maybe he's just not ready for it and you lose confidence. The organization loses confidence in you, all of those things. I don't see that being the case. I think it's going to work out great. I think he's going to have a great NBA career. And I think part of that is going to be due to the fit that he is in Milwaukee. And I think part of it is Milwaukee's play and moving forward with him in there. So I feel really good about Nate Ament in Milwaukee, both situations.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree when it was projected that he would go 10th. Mm-hmm. And then, of course,
the Morez
screwed up our entire, screwed up the script. We were 8 for 8 up until that point. Just knew Braden Burries was going to be the 10th or the 9th pick, so Ament would fall to 10. And then Dusty May goes and drafts Morez Johnson and just wrecked our plans. So I do think the Burries pick at 10 was fantastic for Milwaukee. And then to be able to take that pick from the Heat at 13 and come right back around and get the guy they really, all indications were that's who they wanted. Just didn't know that Burries was going to be available to them. And I thought it was a tremendous pick. And I was like, if they come back and get Ament at 13, it's going to be a fantastic draft for the Bucks. And that's exactly what they did. I'm really having a hard time seeing how Milwaukee didn't just win this trade. I think they absolutely raked in this trade. And I know Giannis is an all-world player. I mean, 10-time All-Star, 2-time league MVP. He brought a championship to Milwaukee. But he's a little older, and he's had some injury issues, and clearly he's not been happy there. So you have to wonder exactly how much he was really committed to, engaged in, and passionate about the team. So I think it'll certainly be a fresh start for the Bucks organizationally. Obviously he's adds value to any team he goes to. It's going to be interesting to see what Miami does now after mortgaging the farm to get him to pair with Bam. So they've got a lot of holes that they're going to have to figure out and fill. But hands down, I think Milwaukee wins this trade. To your point, we may be 2-3 years down the line, and this whole thing was a disaster, and we have to implode it and fire sale and start over with the Bucks. But I don't think that's the case. They've always been a good organization, and I feel like they're probably in a good position to start a rebuild and probably a little ahead of schedule. Based on what we thought was going to happen initially with the Giannis move and getting like guys, Jaylen Brown's name was thrown out there, and there was other trade packages to, the Warriors and a few other teams that probably weren't as serious in the hunt. But the fact that they were able to land this package, just draft pick after draft pick after draft pick, and got players. I mean, they didn't get scrub players. They got, Tyler Hero, fantastic. Jaime Jaquez, very serviceable. So, yeah, it's not a strip the cupboard bare and start over. They've got some guys they can use and even use as trade pieces, because there's going to be more trade dominoes fall as excuse me, as this thing unfolds. So enough about Nate Ament. Let's move on.
Yeah, I was going to say, and who's to say that even they don't even become factors still in the Jaylen Brown, now that with all these youngsters and the draft picks, if he really wants his own team, like why wouldn't Milwaukee potentially make a move in there? Because I know they have some pieces that Boston would like, and it probably wouldn't be traded from, the rookies or anything, but like shoot, you could send a Tyler Hero to Boston, or you could send a Khalil Ware, or multiple first-round draft picks. So with the way the NBA offseason's going, nothing's out of the cards, even though moves have been made. That doesn't mean Milwaukee can't turn around and make another one. But second pick for, Tennessee, obviously Jacoby Gillespie went pick number 42 to the San Antonio Spurs. I think this is a good with all of these picks, I'm going to just say I think it's good for their careers, and I think it was a great choice by the organizations. With Gillespie, I would be shocked if he plays as a rookie unless he just completely hits because of the loaded backcourt for the Spurs. But when you're in the Spurs spot, the same way that the Thunder are, and we're seeing it now because this is kind of year 3 of the Thunder, they got to move off of some high dollar, high caliber players, and they got to replace them. And if you're the Spurs, and that's what the Spurs just did in their front court, like Kelly Olynyk, Bismack Biyombo, like those guys are probably gone. They drafted 3 bigs in JQ and Terrace Reed, and I'm blanking on the third one. That's besides the point. And but Gillespie fits right in. They have a loaded backcourt now, but in a year or two, he might be that 6th man. He might be that backup point guard, and he's very capable of it. I mean, he's an electrifying scorer. He can score at all 3 levels. He plays hard, and he's one of those players that if he gets hot, you can't stop him, especially from deep. And he has a quick trigger, and he's not scared to let it fly either. So I don't think he'll be, he's not a short-term answer by any means with the Spurs, more of a long-term play. But if you're him, when you're any player, and we'll get into it with Otega Owe or even JQ going to the Spurs as well, if you're a player just like them, who there's question marks or whatever, and you get to go into one of the spots that's competing for their conference championship and potentially an NBA championship, it's hard to complain with that. Even if you don't play as a rookie, or even in your second year, if you're still 2 years away from cracking the rotation, they're going to get so much better from practice, being in big time games. Even if they're not playing, that's so valuable for these, young rookies and second year players as well.
Yeah. And, they'll have the summer league to kind of get acclimated to how things work in the NBA. But speaking of the Spurs, talk about them for just a second. Man, when you look at their draft, they took JQ, who all the potential and talent in the world got derailed by, knee injury. Then Terrace Reed, who was very dominant. Jacoby Gillespie, who played every minute of every game for Tennessee the entire season. And then Malik Brown, the fourth one, who another, Quaintance and Brown both are great defenders. JQ, even an elite defender. So they've really beefed up that front court with Harrison Barnes, Victor Wembanyama, and then the backcourt, of course, De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle. Now you enter Jacoby Gillespie in the mix. So, I mean, those 4 guys everybody knew who they were in college basketball last season, right? So, it's a fantastic draft by the Spurs. And I think when you hear all the chatter about how the West especially is going to have to come up with some Wemby kryptonite, and that's, bigs that can stand up to him. Well, Spurs said, hey, well, not so fast. We'll go get some more of our own to kind of, help solidify that, because Wemby can't play every minute. He's not going to play 35, 40 minutes a game in the NBA. He's going to miss games. Unfortunately, injuries are just part of it, even little nagging things. They have to take a day off here and there. So, they didn't just put all their eggs in that one basket. They've addressed the need and depth for the team going forward as well to protect him. So it was a fantastic draft by the Spurs.
Yeah, and even we talked about it during the series, like they have tons of depth at the guard spots and the wing spots, but the front court, it was pretty much just Wemby, and they were small. And if Wemby got in foul trouble, they were toast. And he was just having to do too much. And obviously he is T said it 100 times. He's more than a generational prospect. We've never seen anything like him. We probably never will again. But and he's capable of it. Obviously, he's unworldly, but even as a superstar, you don't want so much pressure on him that you don't want him to have to be doing everything offensively and then turn around and have to do everything defensively. And at times, obviously, Castle's a great defender. Dylan Harper's a great defender, but those are guard defenders. You need the bigs that can rim protect, that can rebound, that can even just box out everybody on the court. And when you're small, it gets really hard, especially a team like the Thunder, because they have 2 7-footers out there. And they just added a 7'3" guy in the draft. So they needed to beef up in the front court. That really was their only weakness that, we saw it in the final series. I mean, New York played a ton of Cat and Mitchell Robinson together, and those are 2 7-footers. So I think the Spurs now, they'll really be able to match up with anybody in the league next year, barring all 3 of these bigs aren't complete bust and flops. And we'll see with Jaden Quaintance, knee injury and stuff. But I think it was a great, them beefing up in the front court. It was their flaw. It was exactly what they needed, and they did a great job of it, on top of adding, an electrifying, point guard as well for, potential depth or potential options if need be.
Yeah, and, we saw Gillespie primarily as a scorer because Tennessee basically was playing 2 positions. We didn't have a 2 guard to speak of, and a lot of his other attributes get overlooked because he was a primary scorer. He and Ament were basically the offense. So he is a pesky defender. Like, he is very aggressive in face guarding. He's quick as a hiccup, as I've heard it said. And he can just get under your skin because he's hard to shake. So he brings a lot more than just scoring. So even if he's not looked at as a second or third option scoring, he's still going to be out there, can handle the ball, can play off the ball. He played for Rick Barnes. So let's be honest. I mean, the guy knows how to play defense. So that's only going to set him up for success in the NBA. As well. So I think it was, I'm a little biased, of course, but I thought it was a great pick. I think it's a fantastic landing spot for Jacoby, and I think it'll be a great piece depth-wise for them going forward. And who knows? I mean, he may be a De'Aaron Fox turned ankle away from getting his shot, and he runs with it. So, not that I'm wishing injury on De'Aaron Fox. I like De'Aaron Fox. He's one of my favorite dudes in the NBA.
Yeah, and then last for Tennessee was Felix Okpara. Obviously, I think he got traded twice, maybe, or there were some weird things there.
I had to keep asking you guys. Okay, so where's he actually going to play? Because I kept seeing all these. The draft. The Wednesday draft was insane with all the trades and everything, and so
it was unreal.
He got drafted, and we called it out, and then somebody said, "Oh, well, he just got traded."
Yeah.
So it was hard to follow the bouncing ball.
Yeah.
With that, so where did he finally end up?
He, I believe, is a Washington Wizard.
Which is tremendous, actually, considering the draft that the Wizards had.
Definitely, and. He's the typical what we see now as a backup 5 in the NBA, a rim running lob threat shot blocker. And I think he fits in there great. Obviously, they have Alex Sarr. Anthony Davis is there. We'll see if he stays there, because there's been some rumblings about him being potentially traded. And I think the one thing with bigs like him is if he does play next year and in the rotation, I know Washington, they're a really young team. So they really have talent everywhere. It's just they're young and unproven to this point. But a big like him, what makes them the best? It's having good point guard play. And he's going to be, I know, Trae Young is not quite the player he was just a couple years ago when he led the Hawks to the Eastern Conference Finals, but it's still Trae Young, and he's still one of the best point guards in the NBA. So if Trae Young's playing at a high level, if Akpar is out there, if you're getting double teams to AD, really we just know what Akpar is. He plays hard, he's long, he's athletic, high vertical, high motor. So I think he fits in great and will be, potentially part of that future plan in Washington with all the other, youngsters in there.
Yeah, totally agree. He's gonna be a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
I believe, and going to be definitely going to be a serviceable player just for his defense alone. And he runs a great pick and roll. We saw it time and time again with Tennessee, where guards would drive the lane. I mean, even bigs would feed each other that little play. And Felix is just he was just dominant working in that type of offense. So he can contribute offensively, but I think his rim protection is probably where he's going to be making his mark.
Yeah.
In the association. So
yeah, I agree. We'll go to Kentucky now. Obviously, we already touched on JQ. We don't need to do that again. Really, my biggest thing is just hopefully he gets healthy. He said it after he got drafted. He's going to have to get another knee surgery or procedure done. So, you just hate to hear that.
Yeah.
Honestly, still surprised that the Spurs took him at 20 if that was the case. But with a guy like him, when you're in the Spurs spot, you could take a gamble. And I guess that's kind of what they're doing, especially if the knee is down. It was being reported that he has to get it cleaned up, but they're pretty confident that after this second cleanup procedure that there should be no issues at all. So hopefully that's the case, and hopefully he can just go be who he is on the Spurs. Because if he is just the good version and healthy version of Jaden Quaintance, he's gonna be a future star in the league just because of his defense. He's still so raw offensively that has so much room to grow. And if it's a him and Wemby front court for the future of the Spurs, that is going to be nasty. And then if you have the Spurs and they, Dylan Harper continues to be the player that we think he's going to be, Stephon Castle, I know T's favorite NBA player, if he continues to keep being successful, the Spurs are setting up to be just like the Thunder are. And what we talked with them with 4 years, the Spurs aren't too far away. And if not, they may be in a better spot because of the absolute freak that Wemby is. So, just hopefully he's healthy. And then, obviously Otega Oweh, went pick 41. It was to Miami. He gets traded to Oklahoma City. So I think a really cool pick for Otega. He's going back home. Obviously, he's from Oklahoma, played his first 2 years of college ball at OU before transferring to Kentucky. And I think he fits right in. I believe that Lou Dort is probably going to be on his way out in Oklahoma City.
Yep. We just saw Isaiah Joe get traded, I think yesterday.
Yeah. So they're having to make some moves to financial wise, and they have 20 players signed or under contract. So they got to make some moves. I don't believe Cason Wallace is a free agent. Maybe he is, but there's been some rumors that he's not going to be returning either. So I tweeted it when he got drafted. He's literally the perfect replacement for Cason Wallace and Lou Dort. And sure, I hate doing it because I'm not comparing him statistically to those guys, but he literally is a carbon copy of both of them. They're strong, athletic, defensive-minded guards, the typical 3-and-D type players. Now, Otega's still improving on his jump shot or trying to, working on his form, but everybody acts like he can't shoot. He can still shoot. He can knock them down at a high clip, especially when he's open, and he gets to the rim effortlessly, and he finishes through contact effortlessly. He gets steals. He gets in transition, breakaway dunks. So if you're the Thunder and you're losing these two guys, if you need a perfect player to fit into the rotation, potentially as a rookie, if he hits, who will be on a cheap contract, Otega was the perfect pick. And now we just got to go out there and execute and play well to hopefully earn rotational minutes. But I think it's a beautiful landing spot for him. And I think it was a great pick for the Thunder with what's potentially going out of the door this offseason.
Yeah, for sure. And, we kind of talked about it a little bit, and I'm still just in shock that 12 teams in front of them just let them have Morrow.
The one player they wanted.
The one player they needed him not to have, and they just drop him right in their lap. So clearly he's physically capable of somewhat negating Wemby and his effectiveness. I don't know that anybody can just straight up guard and lock him down and take him out of the game. I don't think that's really possible.
Yeah.
So, but that was the one thing that they had to have. It's the one thing that everybody else knew they were going to try to get. And then nobody did a damn thing about it. So
yeah, crazy.
Kudos to the Thunder for. And again, I think Dusty May probably helped that a little bit too with disrupting things. Not to say somebody would have taken Morrow regardless of that trade happening, or not trade, but of that pick happening or not. But it just, I don't know. It was just crazy to sit here and watch that unfold the way it did. But
yeah, insane. But and then Louisville, obviously, pick 6, Michael Brown to Brooklyn. I think I've said it. There's a chance he could be the best guard out of this draft class. I look at him and LeBaron Philon, which crazy that he slid as far as he did. But
yeah,
I think Michael Brown and LeBaron Philon, to me, their floors probably aren't as high as an Acuff or some of these other guards, Darren Peterson. But if you talk ceiling, with their length, with their size, with their potential, like I think Michael Brown, he has a chance if he stays healthy, and if he hits and isn't a bust, I think there's a chance he could be a real, legitimate star type point guard because he can score at all 3 levels. He is a complete microwave scorer, and he's just electric. Like, he's just electric in every single way. I remember, I hated watching it, but the performance that he put on in that Kentucky-Louisville game was, like, insane. And I remember everybody talking after. It was like, damn, we're used at Kentucky to have kids like him, and now Louisville does, and we have nobody like him. That was, kind of crazy. But he is truly an ultra-talented player. He has all the skills to be successful in the NBA not only as a rookie, but 10 to 15 years down the line. He's going to have a long career. And that's what Brooklyn needed. They've been a dead organization for the last 4 years. And then, now you look at it and like, okay, you got Michael Brown, you got Michael Porter Jr., you got Julius Randle now. Can they make some moves to potentially, start competing in the East again after a couple down years? So I think it was a great pick for them. And I'm a huge fan of Michael Brown's game.
Yeah. Yeah. He was, when he played, of course, we have to quantitate that because he missed a lot of time with, I think, back soreness or back tightness was kind of the story we got. But when he was on the floor, he was absolutely a difference maker and could take over a game. I think Darius Acuff, Debanza, Boozer, probably some of the most dominant players in the NCAA. Sorry, I almost said NBA. In NCAA, basketball last year. So you would fully expect these guys to just come in and make immediate impact. Yaxel, another one that was very dominant, that has opportunity to come in and make a play, make noise right away. So this group, this is probably one of, if not the most talented group of freshmen that I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, and the reason that I'm huge fans of Michael and Phylon as well when I mention about them potentially is because if what we saw from them in college, the NBA is a totally different game, and to me it fits right into those guys. The spacing, the speed of the game, and just the twitchiness and uniqueness of their games in an NBA. It's where the college game is different. Defenses play harder. It's more packed in. There's more actions and stuff. NBA, we talk about it all the time, especially in the regular season. It's like a glorified pickup game at Lifetime Fitness. And Michael Brown and LeBaron Phylon and those guards, they're just nasty with the ball in their hands. And in a one-on-one, they're hard to guard. So that's why I'm a huge fan of those two guards transitioning to the NBA. The other ones are going to be great as well. Huge fans of them too. But I look at Michael Brown and LeBaron Phylon and saying, like, there's a chance we look 10 to 15 years down the line, and those are the two best guards from this draft class.
Yeah, I would agree. Talked about sorry, let me switch that up here. We talked about that Tuesday night with the way their roster was shaping out and what it could potentially look like with a trade, an Anthony Davis trade, which isn't necessarily locked and set in stone. We talked about that would probably be a possibility based on how they want to use Debansa, given AD's not stepped on the floor for the Wizards. Would certainly make sense for them to make a move there. So, yeah, I agree. I think they're potentially light years ahead of where they probably saw this rebuild coming with the extension of Trae Young. So that locks him in for a few years, 4 or 5 years at least. Bringing arguably the best player in college basketball last year in, and then you've got Alex Sarr, who's an absolute problem for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then overall their draft was I'm on the Hawks. I was going to talk about the Hawks. I wasn't ready to talk about Washington, but I wanted to throw that up there before we stuck our toe into.
Well, and I think they'll definitely be a play-in team. I'm not saying they're going to win the East by any means, or be one of the top 6 teams that stays out of the play-in. But I think I would be shocked if they're not a top 10 seed in the Eastern Conference next year with the talent they have. We got to remember too, Tay Johnson's there, Keyshawn George is there. Some other really talented players. So Washington's got a squad, and let's just say AD does stay there and he is healthy for the most part and like good version of Anthony Davis. Then Washington and AJ Debansa just potentially like a day one superstar. Then it's like, holy shit, Washington is way ahead of schedule.
Oh yeah.
Just sort of like what we've seen from the Spurs of, Wemby was a beast right out of the gate. And, in year 2 this year, he was a stud. So I don't think Washington's too far away. And if some of these guys hit and like Trae Johnson takes a huge leap into being the player that we think he could be as the scorer that he is, I mean, Washington could be a lot better than what people realize.
Yeah, definitely. And another team in the East, I just mentioned them, the Hawks. I thought it was another team that had a really good draft and are in a position to, I think they may even get like a 4 or 5 seed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's out of the question at all because we don't really know we think we know what the Pacers are going to look like, but we have to see how Tyrese is when he comes and gets healthy. The Celtics are a little bit of a dumpster fire right now because it's going to be tough for them to probably salvage that relationship with Jaylen Brown. So I think that's going to be something that's going to bring up some questions in the offseason. Have to wait and see kind of how that looks. The Knicks are defending world champions and pretty much keeping that core together. So, but I think everybody would probably tell you they played a little bit above their expected.
Mm-hmm.
punched a little bit out of their weight class, but it was enough to get it done. Congrats, been forever. And then, of course, Philly, always potentially a problem. It really depends on
Embiid.
how old Embiid is that particular day, if he's the 80-year-old Embiid or the 25-year-old Embiid. So I think the East is pretty much wide open.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Knicks and Celtics, the current version of the Celtics, would have to be the favorites. But outside of that, man, I think the Pacers are going to be dangerous. I think the Hawks are going to potentially be a problem for a lot of teams in the East. The Wizards aren't the Wizards of old. And so anything can happen. So I 100% think the Wizards are in play for the postseason, coming off of a atrocious season. So, and then Joshy boy threw out there, what's up, Josh? Is it true that Nikola Jokic could be a Los Angeles Laker?
I don't know.
What do you think about that?
I mean, I keep seeing there's some potential, or there's some rumors that he's not signing his extension, which I then believe next year he would be a free agent. I don't know how they could get him unless they waited for him to be a free agent. But Jokic, to me, just seems like that guy that's just going to play his whole career in Denver. I don't know why. I think he won one championship, and at time now I think at times he gives off a little bit of a false narrative around him that like he doesn't care, or like he's just a horse racing guy from Serbia. I think he's extremely competitive, but I would be shocked if he ever left Denver. But if he did, it probably would be to a huge market team like the Lakers or something like that.
Yeah. He's got one more year on his deal, and he requested to hold off.
Yeah.
On the extension. He has stated that he wants to be a Nugget. He wants to end his career in Denver. Take that for what you will. That's straight from the horse's mouth. And I will say, based on what we know about Nikola Jokic, he's never really blown any smoke. I mean, he's pretty much one of these what you see is what you get guys. And Ben Tenzer, who's the vice president of the team, said, and this is a quote from the Denver Post, "We just can't comment on the extension talks because of league rules, but you've heard what he said about his happiness here. We feel really comfortable with that relationship." So I'm wondering if some of this isn't kind of getting fabricated out a little bit, because we did have Luka say he wants them to focus on a star big man, right? Like a dominant center. And we all know the Lakers need it. When they traded AD, they've yet to fill that. They've yet to fill those shoes.
Yeah.
So that was the one thing that I thought they absolutely 100% had to address in the draft. And I still think they've got a need. In fact, let me go back. I just blew right by it. They took Cam Carr.
Yeah.
That was their draft. So until they get LeBron put to bed, whatever that looks like, or out to pasture, or out to Cleveland, or wherever else that is on the short list, because I don't see a max contract happening here. Do you, Drew?
No.
I just don't. I don't. So, and it's with them, making some of these other, they re-signed Ayton, right? And then they gave Austin Reeves
big old bag
of money.
Yeah.
They're not getting the friends and family discount. They're not going to be able to pull out the coupon and get LeBron on the cheap. He's going to be max or nothing. And I don't see it happening. Not at 41 plus years old.
Yeah. I'll just say this too about the Jokic stuff. Like, maybe this is just a tactic from him or his agent of like, all right, hey, these other teams in the West are making moves. the only moves that the Nuggets have really made in the last 2 years have been they had to trade Michael Porter because of his big contract. They couldn't afford Jamal and Jokic, so they got Cam Johnson. That's pretty much the only moves they've made. So maybe it's a push under him of like, okay, hey, we just won a championship. That's great. But we've kind of progressively gone down in the last, 2 or 3 years. I think they won the championship like 4 years ago. So maybe it's a little bit push from the organization of like, all right, hey, we gotta make it. It's not going necessarily about going to get another superstar. I think he loves Jamal Murray. Obviously, those two are one of the best 1-2 punches in the NBA.
Absolutely, yeah.
Not just talent wise, but their chemistry together in the pick and roll. It's incredible how they operate. But maybe it's just a push of like, okay, we got to draft better, or we got to sign more better free agents for, different things. Or maybe we need to trade like some of these good depth or, good kind of bench pieces or secondary starters. Like, I know he's a good player and whatever, but they signed Christian Braun to a huge contract. And like, was it well worth it at the time? Or could you have held off and saved that money for another, potential superstar or something like that? So I think it maybe just is a little push from Jokic to the organization of like, okay, hey, we might need to change some focus, or we might need to do something a little bit different to get us back, because it's not like Jokic is going down in his play at all. He's still one of the best players in the world. Jamal Murray's still great. They have good pieces, but I think it's a little bit of like, we need to start kind of playing the other game like everybody else in the Western Conference, because if not, they're going to fall behind. And Denver's not a place that you can just snap a finger and bring it back like you can in LA or, even a San Antonio or some of these places. So, that could be what it is. Just a little wake-up call to the organization, like, okay, hey, we got to operate a little bit differently.
Yeah, and, I mean, we got to call it what it is. Aaron Gordon probably needs to move on because he can't stay on the floor, and he's very spotty and inconsistent. And now Bryce Hopkins, who they drafted, kind of can be that guy, right? Because he plays the wing. He can play probably the 3 or the 4.
Yeah.
So, and he shot like 32% on 3-pointers. So not a bad ad. But yeah, I think there comes a point. It's similar to the situation we had with Giannis, right? Because he's like, okay, guys, we won a championship. Now we need more help. We got to restructure. And so something's got to happen, because clearly the Nuggets didn't make a very big impact on the playoff scene this year. So, well, looky what we have here.
There he is.
What's up, boys?
What's going on, Rando?
I'm about done with this trip already. We're already day one.
Yeah. That was just day one?
Day one, leg one.
I hate to break it to you. You still got a long way to go.
Yeah, we got some time. It's gonna be. But the good news is we stopped at Flagstaff and it's currently on fire. So the whole city looks like it's burning down.
That's not good.
What'd you do?
Yes, that is true. What I do, I showed up and I was combustible apparently. But yeah, man, it's been a good trip. 32-foot. Hold on. 32-foot trailer tow behind, and I look kind of silly because we're staying in a hotel right now, and I got a 32-foot RV trailer parked, taking up like 18 slots because I didn't have it in me to set this thing up today, so we'll start camping tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't blame you, man. We were just talking about it off air in the green room. That it's one thing to move cross country. It's one thing to drive and move cross country. It is another total ball of wax when you're hauling a 32-foot damn full behind RV. It's just everything about it sounds miserable. So
it wasn't honestly, once you got into it, it wasn't too bad. But when we get into the mountains and then towing that thing was interesting. But yeah, I'm glad we did it though. It's gonna be a fun trip.
Oh yeah, you can definitely make it fun. But I'm glad you made it day one, safe and sound. Everything's good. So I'm glad. great to see you.
Tomorrow, day 2, I'm gonna be with T. I'm stopping at his place in Albuquerque. So,
There you
That'll
go.
be awesome.
yeah, well, we're gonna hang out for a bit. But what are y'all chopping up about right now? Who still doing a draft recap?
Yeah, we were just
Um,
a little bit of NBA stuff. We were talking about Jokic potentially on the move. I don't think he is. I think it's more of a play of like, hey, Nuggets, we need to wake up a little bit. You know, we're kind of falling behind. So it's just a lot of contract talk of like him not signing an extension when he's eligible to be a free agent next offseason. So we were just kind of speculating about that.
Yeah, more attributed, I think, to Luka making a statement that he needs or wants them to go get a dominant superstar center, and then the Luka, Jokic relationship that, which I don't know. Obviously, I don't know either one of these dudes. Don't hang out with them, but it appears that they have a good relationship, and so who knows? But yeah, I think it's definitely more smoke, not like Flagstaff, and more fire. So, but yeah, that was pretty much it.
I mean, he has done the Nuggets well. Like, I mean, he has been one of the least like problem superstars in the league, right? He just
Oh yeah,
signs an extension. He lets him do the thing in the offseason. He's not a problem. But yeah, I think they need to start spending some money. That's what Denver has a championship, recently, but they have been known to be a frugal franchise.
Yeah, Hammer brought it up. It kind of reminds us of like we're like 3 or 4 years ago with Giannis. Like they won a chip and then everybody was gone. They trade Drew Holiday away, Chris Middleton traded. So and then obviously he got to the point now where Giannis got so pissed where he pretty much demanded out. So hopefully it doesn't get to that point. I think Jokic is just trying to wake up the organization a little bit and saying, hey, we got to start doing things differently because we're falling behind compared to everybody else in the Western Conference.
yeah. They're probably now a distant third to San Antonio and Oklahoma City, even though they still got one of the most dominant and talented players. I mean, the guy's a walking triple double.
Yeah,
but he's going to have some help. That's pretty clear.
Yeah.
So, all right. Rando, any thoughts? NBA draft?
I mean, I think I will. I didn't see the Otego away to OKC thing happening, but I think it makes perfect sense. I don't know if you all talked about that already, but like, Case and Wallace leaving right now, more than likely, because he's going to get a big paycheck. He got Otego away on a rookie deal, probably start as a 2-week contract, see if he can live up to what he is. But he's a great defender, can get downhill. I think can score even right now in the league, and if he can the jump shot's not going to change form wise, but if he can get to go in a little more consistently, that's a great pickup by OKC. Presti doing his thing again, just seemingly doesn't miss when it comes to these moves.
And for them to make that move for Bennett Sturts as well, like that was so underrated too. That kid, he's a baller, he's a gamer, and for them to make that trade to get him as well, and then Hammer talked about it, the Mara trade. I think Oklahoma City had a great draft.
Yeah, agreed.
And did Orlando even participate in the draft? I'm confused.
I know we almost made a huge mistake in drafting him fall, and then we traded him away. So, and we went and got a bull. So
You'd have won the draft if you hadn't made that trade. So, yeah, we talked a little bit too about like some of the teams that had like really good drafts that could be noisemakers this year. Certainly in the East, we got the Hawks. I think are going to be there. The Wizards even could possibly rattle some cages. In the East, I think the West is still pretty much a 2-horse race. Depends on what we see with this LeBron situation and how happy Luka is with whoever it is that they bring in there. But I think the West is still 2-horse race.
Up in conversation for LeBron now. I know that people are just speculating, but I did not see that potentially coming. LeBron maybe going back to Miami. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
and
think it's a short
well,
list, and it could be a run back with
yeah.
a team he's already darkened the doors at. And I mean, what would that look like if you had Bam, Giannis, and LeBron all on the same team?
It
How
would
would
be a
that
lot
work?
of dunks and lobs, probably. Um, it would be a team. I would be playing, a standard elementary school 2-3 zone against them. If I was, it's kind of hard to do that though. In the NBA, you'd have to play 3-2 zone, I guess, because the defensive 3 seconds in the paint. But
Yeah,
man, it'd be fun. It'd be crazy to see. I mean, they're all 3 elite athletes, all 3, extremely physical players.
big
So
dudes.
yeah, I mean, all 3 of those dudes running down the paint. That's when you're like, oh shit, step out of the
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
But
You won't. There won't be any guards stepping in there.
yeah, but I don't think they'd win the championship at all. But they would probably be pretty competitive in the East. I would say maybe losing the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, I think their ceiling still might be. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
I guess
third round.
who they play against. Like,
Yeah, I think they get to the semis. I don't know if they would. I don't know if they would advance. You're right. It does. It would largely depend on who they play, health of teams, things like that. But
yeah,
right now, I think as the Heat roster sits today, I think there may be a first round win and then done. Even with Giannis, I think there's just too many holes. They don't really have a lot of perimeter shooting. So
yeah, they're gonna have to get to work. They're gonna have to get to work fast, and they need to do it now. They really have. I mean, they brought Giannis in with the expectation to go win a championship. At some point in the next 3 to 4 years, and
I mean, and the odds show that too, because they went from plus 1,800 to plus 650 to win the East, and I'm like,
yeah,
why?
The problem is though and it could work out. Don't get me wrong. The problem is they make that move. Okay, great. You got Giannis. You have Bam and Giannis now. You got Andrew Wiggins. Okay. Other than that, like there's so many holes deep in their roster, and now they really don't have any more youth in their roster because they just traded all of that away for the most part.
Yeah, they mortgaged the future for
Yeah,
sure.
and I think they gave up a first round pick too, 13, right? That's where Ament was taken.
That's right.
So, they're going to have to make moves into free agency, or they're going to have to make some more trades. The problem is they don't have anybody on the roster that's really trade worthy. Like, who the hell is going to trade anything for Andrew Wiggins? Or, they probably don't want to get rid of Davion Mitchell, but they need to replace him or get a better starting point guard, and maybe he plays the 2. So I like the Conwell pick for them. I think he's probably going to play as a rookie, and I think he can.
I think he's going to have to.
Yeah, and I think he could be successful, but I'll just keep saying it. They got to get to work. They got to figure it out. If they really want to compete, sure, they could win a playoff series, maybe 2, if they run into like a hurt matchup advantage for them or something. But like, no way this team could win in the championship. You put them against some of the best teams in the West, it don't even matter who it is. Thunder, Spurs, you go down the line. That's a sweep or a gentleman's sweep in game 5, like we just saw this last year. So they got a lot of work to do, but it's also the Miami Heat. It's Pat Riley. They can do it. They're going to be really the team that I look forward to the most of tracking the rest of the offseason with free agency and trades.
I agree.
We're going to have to, and they might have to make trades that then leads into other trades. So they just got to play their cards right, and they got a lot of work to do.
Yeah. I think the fruit basket turnover has just begun, especially when we're talking about the Heat. It's because we keep talking about like the shooting and all this stuff. Let me just give you some numbers. The Heat were 14th in the league last year in 3-point attempts and 11th in 3-point efficiency. Well, guess where all that came from? The majority of that came from Tyler Hero and Norman Powell.
Yeah.
Hero's gone, and Powell very well could walk in free agency.
I would
So,
say likely.
I think likely.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people are expecting him back. So enter Ryan Conwell, which desperately needed. And he shot like 37, I'm looking 37, 38% from three last year. So they at least add that in there. But the kid's a rookie. This is his 5th team in 5 years because he played a different school every year in college. So they're going to have to do something. They got to make some moves.
Well, to answer Joshy Boy's question, I think the NBA is actually in a great spot as far as competitive product. Like, you've seen it now. They've changed the rules really the last 3 to 4 years. Where like no more super teams, especially no more like super team trios. And if you do the super team trios, your bench is terrible, or they're on cheap deals. So I think it's very competitive. I think we just saw it like in the Western. I think the playoffs are great for the most part. Every series was pretty competitive and fun. Unfortunately, though, injuries was really the story of the playoffs for some teams. So like with the Celtics, we didn't really get to see them because Tatum was there, Embiid was laying on the floor. All these things. So it's interesting. And you mentioned the regular season. I don't think they can do anything about that. I just think it is what it is. The only way I think they could do it is if they shrink the season to like maybe like 58 games or something. But then that loses them so much money. And I just think the regular season is what it is. But if I'm being honest, I hardly ever watch the NBA regular season. I watch college basketball. And then I follow the NBA very closely. And then when college basketball ends, then I really deep dive into my NBA stuff and enjoy the playoffs. But you're not going to catch me ever watching a Tuesday night Brooklyn Nets at,
Sacramento, yeah.
Sacramento game on ESPN. Like, no.
No, that shit belongs on the Ocho. That shouldn't even be on an ESPN channel.
You couldn't even make ESPN Plus either.
Yeah, that would be an ESPN minus game because that would be extremely difficult to watch. Got to throw Caden's comment up here because he worked so hard on this.
I don't mind that list, actually.
I don't think that's a terrible list.
Yeah, I think a healthy Jaden Tatum back, that team as is will be fine. But I'm assuming he's picking Celtics with Jaylen Brown. If Jaylen Brown leaves, take the Celtics out of that top spot, depending on who they get back. Yeah. But I still think he's a stud. He's not happy. He's posting things on which I feel like we do this every offseason with Jaylen Brown. So, but they've already paid him, so it's not like they can give him. Like last time they paid him a bunch of money and he was happy, right? So now he's unhappy and he's already been paid. So what are you gonna do? You're probably try to move him.
Well, and then you try to trade him multiple times
every offseason.
That doesn't help either.
And they've all been publicly because they're going after a superstar, and that's what really kills it. Is when these things are, if it was behind the scenes and it's quiet, you don't know. But all these trades that he's been involved in have all been extremely public. So I don't blame him for being an ass either. I mean, if I was in his spot, I'd be pretty pissed off too.
Yeah, and Josh mentioned this. No, you're right. When the college football regular season ends and it's a Thursday night and you're used to seeing a decent football game on in that spot. And then you get the Brooklyn Sacramento matchup or whatever. Well, that's not a prime spot for basketball. Mm-mm. So you're not really going to get a marquee game on that schedule. It's kind of like the Thursday night football in NFL. I think they did a better job with it this past season because Amazon's like, hey, look, we paid you all this money. We don't want to watch the Bears and the Cardinals, or excuse me, the Browns and the Cardinals. Like, give us a game that doesn't have two third-string quarterbacks starting in it. So they did improve that a little bit, but that's the NFL, totally different animal.
Yeah.
So I don't I don't know that there's really a solve for that. I think your prime games are always going to be, Saturday night, Sunday night, especially Sunday night. That's always going to be a marquee matchup. And then the schedule's so long. I mean, these teams will play each other and then turn right around and play each other again. Like Boston will play Philly, they'll go play the Nets, and then they'll turn right back around and Philly will come to Boston or whatever. So there's just so many games. It's hard to they don't have like the NBA. They got the League Pass thing, right? But they don't have like multiple channels showing like college football, showing all these games. So I don't know that there's a lot they can do.
And shoot, I mean, even their primetime games, they're losing to the NFL. Like they used to own Christmas, and now NFL's taking that over.
The NFL,
So,
hold my beer or hold my eggnog.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like the college basketball product, I think, is better. The fan bases are I think, more into it, and it's 31 games. Everyone is like live or die, right? And you can see them all, right? Even ACC fans have the CW to watch, freaking college basketball on.
Yeah,
right
where it belongs.
Yeah, and so, but you're not there. It's like baseball. They're not going to reduce the season. I do think the in-season tournament was a smart move because I'll watch that.
Yeah,
the floors are gaudy.
It's compelling at least, right?
I wish it would have it so early though. They have it like too early, in my opinion. They should wait.
I agree. The season's just barely a month in full swing when they start this.
They should wait till around, I don't know, maybe December, because college basketball for the most part is kind of quiet in December.
Yeah,
sort of.
Conference schedule hasn't started, so
and
that'll be an ideal time.
I mean, we see with Kentucky, they usually play like maybe 3 or 4 games in the month of December. And if they play more, it's mostly like they'll play like 2 games in the first week, and then they'll play like a Saturday, and then they'll be off for like a 2-week time. So I think they should move it back maybe a couple weeks, and also not drag it out so damn long.
That's the other thing. It's too long.
Yeah. They have them on specific dates, and I get it. They try to sell to the TV like Tuesday night's play-in day. But the problem is like some games are play-in games, and then they have a break of regular season games and then another play-in game. And then in the breaks in between, they're playing the team that they're already playing in the play-in game. If they're going to do it the right way, in my opinion, they should just go for it. And it should be like maybe just a 2-week thing of like, if you're playing that night, you're playing, and if you're off, then you're off, and you're not playing any other BS games. But they do that so they could try to speed up the regular season. So I get that, but I don't know. The NBA is just so hard because they're competing with so many sports. They're competing with college basketball. Shoot, they're competing with hockey. They're competing with the NFL. The end of the NFL season too.
Yeah, playoffs.
They're just in a tough spot. And when the NBA has gotten to the point where it is now, and it's not like it was in the 90s, they're just kind of playing behind the 8 ball, and they just got to, I don't know, just keep trying to hang on with what they have, I guess.
And really, I mean, because it is such a long season, it's similar to baseball in the sense that the season really doesn't start for a lot of people until April.
Yeah,
when teams are coming down the stretch and playoff seeding is starting to take form. Because just like I don't think there's too many people that sit down and watch every single baseball game in a 162-game schedule. Well, not a lot of people sit down and watch an 84-game NBA schedule. So, and especially with the load management, and that's supposed to be better this season, right? It's going to be interesting to see who pushes that envelope and what the league's office reaction is to that with Adam Silver and company. So, still to be determined on how that gets handled and what type of detriment that is for teams to not do that. But yeah, it's a long season. It just kind of is what it is, unfortunately, until you kind of come down to crunch time when teams are kind of fighting for that playoff seeding. Then it gets interesting for most people. If you don't live in an NBA city, it's really tough to stay that engaged for that length of time.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right. So World Cup, Brando. How you feeling about the U.S. now? Secured the round of 32. We've got our first matchup. You still drinking the red, white, and blue bomb pop Kool-Aid here?
Of course, not going to stop. I saw some of the commentators and fans on the internet. I get we were bummed out. We lost, especially the way we lost, in the closing seconds of the match. But we had the studs outside of Pulisic, who played a little bit in the second half, on the bench, preservation mode. I thought we still looked great early.
Mm-hmm.
We played Bosnia, right?
Yes, we will open the round of 32 with Bosnia and
now the way some of
Herzegovina.
these groups close, I think our path to actually doing something special got significantly harder on the sides that we had to play. France and Spain and those being there if we got to the final four, those last rounds. But I think if you're looking at how the team looks currently, Pulisic's back healthy. Change the match as soon as he got into the game. If he would play that whole game, we win that. Especially if Flo was in the ball game.
And he was that close. It was that close to being a tie game too.
That thing almost bent in. Yeah,
sure did.
And he just barely. And if he hadn't slipped, that he would have put that goal, that ball in the net. But from a realistic perspective, when you and T were talking, you said the ceiling was we win 2 knockout games. And I think the way this draw has gone for us and how the team looks, that's very realistic, in my opinion. And if you get there, then who knows what happens match to match, right? You could have an upset, and it's not March Madness, and these teams are on the upper echelon of soccer are there for a reason. They're significantly better, but you could get some weirdness, right? And one of these big premier teams, loses, and it makes the path easier for us. At the end of the day, you just got to play the team that's ahead of you. And Ponch, man, I think he's got this team figured out. I think he's one hell of a coach, manager, whatever the hell they call him in soccer. Yeah. I think the biggest thing is our team is confident they can go win. That's what feels the biggest difference. We were just participants in other World Cups, right? We had some magical runs. The teams clicked at times, but now everybody on the pitch is we can go beat any team. Whether it's true or not, they believe it, which I think is an important aspect of this group we have.
Yeah, no doubt. Mindset, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. Henry Ford, it matters, a lot. If we were to see it unfold as we expect it to, based on the seeding, the bracket, Bosnia, round of 32, Belgium in the round of 16. Then we would only need to beat Spain in the quarter, France in the semi, and Argentina in the final to win the World Cup. 3 of the 4
if you're going to beat the champ, you got to beat the champ.
Right? So
put them up, knock them down.
That's right. So very difficult path, and that's kind of what I was looking at when I said I think we possibly can make the quarterfinal. I actually have a wager that the U.S. gets eliminated in the quarterfinal. So I believe they can get there. I think Belgium is beatable. Spain has not looked their dominant self. They came in a little, drew a draw in the first match, so they looked a little vulnerable. They've since kind of gotten things together. But, again, not the usual dominance we're seeing from them. France and Argentina, that's another level. I got France, Spain, Germany, France, Spain, England, Argentina was my final 4. But I told Drew about this, and I did everybody at the top of the show that I was going to wait till you got on here because you have to answer for something here.
Me?
You.
Okay.
Yeah. So you remember my little notebook here that I had prepped for the World Cup, but we ran over. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So
you got your feelings hurt about it. I remember.
I did, and here's why. I picked 11 of the 12 group winners, I picked 18 of the 24 winner and runner-ups. I got 7 of the 8 third-place teams to advance, and I got 4 perfect groups. So I hope you feel good about depriving everybody. See all those circles on there? That's winners, baby. That is winners.
I do appreciate that, you didn't make yourself go perfect, because then people would have thought that you just, you completely made that up and you went back in time.
Well, you've seen all my bet slips for the World Cup, so you can.
I have seen them.
So
I noticed how you share winners with me after they win, and the ones you share with me that I gamble on are losers. I don't know if this is coincident or not, but I'd appreciate you sharing some winners with me.
Before.
I don't remember that.
Yes, before this slip happens.
Well, they can't all be winners.
They can't.
Yeah. So, the only one I missed, I had Portugal winning Group K and Colombia, the runner-up team. Colombia won Group K and Portugal was the runner-up team. So, I did not include that in my got it rights because I didn't get it right. But I did get the 2 teams to be first and second in there. Just throwing that out there. So, anyway. But the schedule.
I texted you. I said you got this. You got soccer figured out.
I do.
Is you're a footy. What do they call them? A handicapper. You are a full footy handicapper.
Some type of handicap. Yes, I would agree with that. So, and then I don't know if everybody's aware of this. The round of 32 actually kicks off tomorrow. We have our first match. It's going to be South Africa versus Canada. That's going to be in Los Angeles. Monday, a pretty good group of games with Germany versus Paraguay, Netherlands and Morocco, and then Brazil takes on Japan. So a couple heavies there in Germany and Netherlands. Brazil is a heavy, but I'm not. They haven't really flexed that and shown that. I think Japan's going to give them all they can handle. Then Tuesday, you're going to have France, Sweden, Ivory Coast, and Norway, and then Mexico and Ecuador. Wednesday, England will play a third-place team. U.S. will play Bosnia. That's going to be in San Francisco on Wednesday the 1st. And then Belgium will play a third-place team whenever these final couple matches get rounded up. And then Thursday, the Group K runner-up will play Croatia. Spain will play Group J runner-up. Switzerland will play a third-place team. And then Friday, right before the birthday of this great country, Argentina and Cape Verde. Ghana will play the winner of Group K, and Australia will play Egypt. So those are your first round of 32 matchups in the knockouts. So it's loser go home from here on out. So hopefully we can continue the run. There will be matches Saturday, July 4th. There are 2. Sunday, July 5th. There are 2. And then this thing pretty much just keeps on rolling until we have our 8 teams standing. So
I was hoping we were going to get that July 4th match. We could have just bet the house on a win.
Oh, you know it, man.
But July 1st isn't bad.
That would have been that Justin Gaethje vibe fighting at the White House.
100%. That's exactly what I was sitting there thinking. Is like just like Gaethje wasn't going to lose at the White House. The U.S. is not going to lose against anybody on the 4th. Just ask England; they'll tell you.
When do you start going? So is it if after 90 it's tied, they go into golden goal, or is it PKs in the World Cup? And when
I think it's penalty kicks.
You know? Okay, that's exciting. That's it. I like the PK thing makes it
because I think that's how isn't that how Argentina won the cup last year? Was on penalty kick.
I don't know.
I'm trying to find it real quick. If anybody knows out there, just shout it out.
Would USA play on July 4th if we win round 32? I don't think that. I think it's a pretty quick turnaround. That'll only be 3 days rest. They've been getting full weeks in these group play, but maybe that's just because of the group play. I'm not real sure how that works.
Yeah, no, they won't get 4 or 5 days off now.
Okay.
Let's see. I think I may have found it here. No, penalty shootout.
Nice.
No golden goal.
That's better.
Yeah.
That's better.
Yeah. And then going just so we not tennis.
The
Argentina's up 2-1 on Jordan, and Austria is up 2-1 on Algeria. I need Argentina to win this match, and I will send you another bet slip that cashed.
I think that one's going to be pretty easy. Is Messi? Is he out
No,
there?
he's not. He is available, but he did not start. So I don't know that it's even will be necessary for him to come in the game. The fact that Jordan has scored is a little surprising, I'm gonna be honest. So, but I don't think they will. I don't think they'll have any reason to run him out there and get involved in this deal. So, anything else World Cup, Drew? I know you're.
No, I was just gonna say, really, it doesn't even have to do with anything with soccer. I think it's just all sports in general. When it's a 1-game sample size, when when you have belief, when you have the crowd behind you, when you have the internal confidence and the connection, like anything can happen. So, I mean, I'm not the biggest soccer guy, but like obviously I'm pulling like hell for my country and Team USA. So shit, play free, play confident. 1 game, anything can happen. So,
Oh yeah,
let's
this chip in a chair mentality here is like gotta leave it all on the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And outside of really Argentina and France, anybody else, I mean, stuff could go right. A lot of things would have to, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that we could take out anybody else. France and Argentina are just, I'm sorry, they're just two different animals on this stage with Mbappe
I watched,
and Messi. So.
Yeah, France, when I was getting my tattoo worked on, I was watching France play their last group match. And yeah, Mbappe, that dude is insane. He's a unicorn out there for sure.
Yeah, he is. I mean, Messi, the GOAT, I don't think there's any question. Go back and argue Maradona, Pele through the years, but Messi's done things we just haven't seen.
Oh yeah.
Mbappe is, I mean, he's right there. And I know there's a lot of Ronaldo fans out there and stuff, but he's not a scorer like these guys are. And they just do magical things with the soccer ball. So
you notice how it's gotten on my algorithm, the whole Messi versus Ronaldo, who's the GOAT thing has swung heavily to like everybody acknowledge that it's just Messi. I don't know if it's because Ronaldo went and played where he went to play and people didn't like it as much, or he's just out of sight, out of mind, or if it's just because Messi keeps doing what he's doing. Finally got the World Cup, leader in World Cup goals, and he's carrying MLS in Miami. Maybe that's what it is. But seemingly the argument has stopped where the LeBron MJ thing, the Messi Ronaldo thing, it's Messi, and then everybody else is just somewhere else. Rank them how you want to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we all know it's Jordan, and there's not even a debate. So
Gary said Messi's in. So I think you can go ahead and solidify your bet there, Emmer. If Messi's on the pitch, Argentina's not losing.
Yeah, 2-1. They are a minus 10,000 favorite right now in the 61st minute. If you think there's comeback on Jordan, it's plus 12,500 right now. So
Sprinkle a little something.
Might be worth a quarter or two. I don't know. That would be Buster Douglas over Mike Tyson level upset. If Jordan somehow were to come back and beat Argentina, but in any event. But it's been a lot of fun. I mean, I'm not a sit down and watch any kind of soccer guy. I have a somewhat vested interest in Arsenal in the Premier League, but I'm not a regular EPL, watcher because of when it comes on typically. But the World Cup's just it's a totally different deal. And I love it. I've really enjoyed a lot of these matches, and I've made a lot of money. So what's not to love?
I feel like everything when your country's on the line, it always means more, and it's always
anything. Yeah, it's national pride.
Yeah.
So it's the best country on the planet. Of course, we want to win everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and we celebrate better than anywhere. Like we
hell yeah,
we win. We dunk on people. It's fun.
Yeah,
which is why everybody loves us.
Yeah, that's what all these Europeans, the ones that are here experiencing our culture and stuff, they're loving it, right? They're talking about how awesome it is, how great it is. It's all you sour pusses over there in Europe that just run your mouths because you don't know, one, what you're talking about, and two, I understand you're jealous in that suck-ass country that you are stuck in with no air conditioning, eating wonky food, and having to watch, reruns of shows that were on 15 years ago. I get it. I'd be pissed too. But I promise you, talk to your brothers that are over here visiting how amazing everything is in the United States, and then get back to me. So
America.
Free Pepsi refills with ice. That dude is never leaving the country.
He's never leaving. He's never going home. They're going to have to mail him his stuff. He's going to have to put it on a slow boat through the Suez Canal or whatever, and then he'll get it eventually. So yeah, they're not going to leave. Well, there is a little bit of Tennessee football news that
it's shambles. Oh my goodness!
Oh my God! Here we go.
Here we go. What's Heupel doing? Just losing the locker room
3 years in a row.
Just don't. Yeah, I thought he got a handle with Nico. No, they're just like Heupel's a punk. Apparently, just give me my money and I'll decide if I want to play or not. That's what I'm hearing, Hammer. That's what I mean. I don't know if you're seeing something different, but that's.
Are you done?
For now, I'm done for now. Go ahead.
So, all right. So let's back up here. Okay. So we got the volleyball player, right, who comes in flexing, Big Nick, overplayed his hand. We ain't paying you that kind of money. Hit the road, right? Then we had the whole Boo Carter thing where skanky ass Mama Boo is all up on social media talking all this mess, and then wait, are we live? So he didn't want to be here apparently either. So I'm sure he'll have so much better luck out in Colorado. And then now we got this kid who, yeah, he's ultra talented. Yeah, we hired his defensive coordinator. Yeah, his defensive coordinator brought him to Tennessee with him, so to speak, right? Well, apparently the kid doesn't know what he wants to do. And apparently the kid is homesick and didn't want to come to practice and didn't want to do this, didn't want to do that. And just in case anybody missed it, all that money that we were talking about is NIL and him flashing it all on social media and all that other bull. We renegotiated that down because we saw the train coming down the tracks. He got about $25,000. Okay. And when you're talking about NIL money, landscape of college athletics and what rosters cost, $25,000 is pocket money. So Is he an elite talent? Absolutely. Would he have helped our football team? No question.
I saw that on his arm, not in his pocket. It was all down his arm.
Yeah, and I'm happy for him. Congratulations. You snookered 25 grand. Ooh. But it is frustrating because it's not the fact that we lost 25 grand or 50 grand or 250 grand or whatever the dollar amount is for any of these guys when they decide, I don't think I want to do this. It's the fact that we, didn't pursue or try to keep other players, and we wasted our time on this clown. Yeah, and Boo was a terrible distraction. And this thing just kept dragging out. So I applaud Coach Heupel for saying, no, enough. Take your ass back to Pennsylvania or wherever and go be Ohio State's problem or wherever this kid's going to land. And then, no, I won't.
Volleyball.
He's the volleyball player. So I applaud Coach Heupel for cutting this thing off, nipping it in the bud, sending him down the road. And because we don't need to go through this and then come to August, him still over here, with his blankie and his binky wanting mama to pop his titty in her mouth again and not be focused on what he's supposed to be doing. I would much rather take those reps and give them to Tyree Weathersby or Jordan Norman or Christian Gass. Another name I'll throw out there, I was talking with Joey Peterson about this on there, that Edwin Spillman could easily be out there on third down at the Leo and just be full send. Like that dude runs at like Mach 8. His first step explosion is ridiculous. He's a little light, but so was James Pierce. He put on 10, 15 pounds, get up to about 240 pounds, and that guy's a problem for any tackle in the SEC. So there are options, y'all. The sky is not falling. I'm more upset about the fact that we brought another knucklehead in here and didn't see the writing on the wall than I am that we sent his ass packing. Yes, we need edge rushers. I get that. But we've got edge rushers, okay? Because if we kept this kid, who knows how many times he would step on the field. So good riddance. Bye. Bye, Felicia.
Yeah, it sucks. I will say that I don't know off the top of my head what your roster looks like. I imagine
stacked in the linebacker room.
I was to say, I imagine you have somebody 4-star who just fills his spot. Maybe he's not as talented or doesn't have the intangibles or tangibles, I should say. Hopefully he doesn't have the intangibles of this kid either. But in all seriousness, I said this with Nico, and when he was holding out and wanted more money and renegotiated, you already given him like a $4 million deal, whatever that number was.
Yeah,
I was like, Heupel has to step up, because if he would have caved, it would have changed college football. All these quarterbacks would have been started doing the same thing. Him being like, you know what, I'll take the risk. He went and found Joey, which was an upgrade at quarterback. Both, I think for the system, maybe not overall talent, but for the system and for the locker room, it's an upgrade. And then you see Nico go out to UCLA and be in a worse situation, making less money than he was at Tennessee. That was okay. This plan doesn't work. Like we don't want to be on this side of it. We just will take the deal we have. So Heupel standing his ground there, and look at this, nice job. And being like, listen, dude, you're super talented, but I don't need this drama. Bye. You and your family are too much, and I'll figure it out later. That was a huge move by Heupel, and it took some big balls to do that. And he's just kind of recycling that, where it's like, yep, all right, dude, kind of tired of this thing. Sorry, you're homesick. Find a place to play close to home, I guess, but we can't keep this thing. And naturally, your fan base is going to freak out because he's super talented. You just describe all the things you did to get this kid here, or kind of came with the package deal.
Yeah.
So obviously, people are gonna freak out.
The optics on it are terrible, and a lot. I mean, because I've said it before, I'll continue to say it as long as it keeps happening, which will be until Jesus comes back. Is nobody hates Tennessee more than Tennessee. Like nobody hates our program more than our own fans. And so when this news broke, of course, what's everybody do? Everybody goes ragging on Coach Heupel. Oh, we can't evaluate talent. Oh, we can't evaluate character. Oh, we got to make a change. Oh, we need – I even saw somebody say we need Rick Barnes to be involved in the football recruiting or transfer portal because he can evaluate character better. Well, I'm not going to say he can or he can't. There's a lot of kids that are on a football team. There's a lot of personalities. Everybody's wired differently. Anybody that's got kids knows all of your children have different personalities. People respond to different motivations and criticisms and rewards and incentives. Everybody's different. And so sometimes you don't know how a kid is going to respond to a situation or an environment until he gets in it. So why don't y'all shut the hell up? If you could do better, then you would be the one making these decisions, right? So get everybody calm down. Relax. Aaron Rodgers, RELAX. Relax. It's okay.
I'll just say
nobody's bigger than the power T. Coach Heupel.
Yeah, I'll just say
himself.
I know it's all fun in games because it's a rivalry or whatever, and we can take shots or whatever. But at the end of the day, I will never criticize a coach, even if it's a Kentucky coach and it hurts the program. In this modern NIL, world, if a dude is acting like a shithead in the locker room and he's killing your team and he's a waste of money and he's being distractions both on and off the field. I don't follow Tennessee as closely as you, but if they were doing practicing and he was being a distraction on the practice field during, summer,
not being on the practice field, not even being in the building,
showing up.
Yeah, it's a distraction.
It's a distraction. So I said it when the news broke of Sorsby. I would have applauded Joey McGuire so hard if he would have just cut down on Sorsby right then and there and just said, "You're done. We're not playing you. You're gone." And it took a month or even 2 months. Can't remember the timeline on that for him to finally get there from all the backlash and all the people coming out and saying, "You have to do this at this point." And it's why. Look, when these kids are making money, I'm all for the paying the players and those things. And this kind of stuff even happened before money came into the equation for college sports. But if I was a coach, and I know it's easier for me to say now sitting on a podcast and those things, but I know dang well I wouldn't put up with that stuff because even as a fan, I don't put up with that stuff. When we hear reports coming out about, certain guys acting the way they do, then me as a fan, like they might be wearing Kentucky across their chest, but I don't support them the way that I would somebody else. And even times where they do leave in players, like this past year, when everybody transfers out, the same way of like when Colin Chandler left, and fans are like, "Oh, I'm going to keep supporting him" or whatever. And then he has comments where he bashes Kentucky, or he really was a hypocrite because of things he said about Kentucky and Coach Pope, and then all of a sudden, boom, he's out the door. And then you have Jalen Lowe posting on Instagram like, "Oh, wait till you guys find out what happened behind the scenes." For me as a fan, middle finger, F you. Like, I'm not supporting you anymore. And then you have a guy in Andrea Yelovich who walked out of the door, put out a statement thanking BBN. He went to Ohio State. I'm cheering for him like crazy now because he earned my respect and he didn't burn the bridge for me as a fan or those things. But the same way as a coach, if you're acting like a shithead in practice and you're a distraction, I would immediately kick him off the team. So rivalry aside, yeah, you lost a hell of a talent. Obviously, he's one of the best edges in college football, but screw him. Like he needs to get out of the door, needs to get out of the locker room and get out of the program, especially right now. Credit to Heupel for doing it now so he can get out of it way earlier and get the storyline bleed out and the narrative and the negativity there. And then you also have, I think 9 weeks until the first game that you can prepare to replace him not being here either. So I'll never fault the coach for kicking a shithead out of the locker room. That's really
and that's the thing too is everybody talks about, we keep getting these problems and all. We've dealt with the problem though.
yeah.
Yes, it's frustrating to have the problem, but that's just kind of the way NIL era is going to be.
And that happens everywhere.
It does happen everywhere.
It's louder for you guys because it's Tennessee and you're Tennessee fans. There's things like that happen at Kentucky that Tennessee fans don't realize that Kentucky fans. I'm sure it happens at, I don't know, Florida International, and we never hear about it. There's
Sure.
shitheads everywhere in college sports. And I applaud the coaches for making the decision to get out of here. And, you're not staying here. You're not doing that here. And good on Tennessee for not. I mean, they lost pennies compared to what I'm sure they were expecting to pay him as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, we could have brought Brandon Sorsby in, through the portal. So think about that.
A lot of teams.
I don't necessarily disagree with this, Josh. I mean, I'll kind of take a bullet for Coach Heupel on a lot of things, but this is even one that I've been kind of critical of. Is I think since Alex Golesh left, I think that's been a problem. And the other comment that you made, yes, there have been some questionable things in his closing moments, and we've lost some games we probably shouldn't have. But I don't agree that he's not built to be a head coach. Granted, it's a different league, but he took Central Florida to undefeated season. So I think he's capable. I think he's got to have, like anybody else, not comparing him to these guys, but Cignetti and Saban and Harbaugh, Ryan Day, guys that have won a championship in the last several years, they've got elite staffs around them. It's not a one-man show. So I think Jim Knowles is a massive upgrade on that coaching staff for more than just defensive coordinator reasons. Yes, there are some deficiencies. Yes, there's some things I see, and I'm like, my God, I see coaches make that decision and that mistake in Pop Warner. Yes, it did, but it didn't take Kurt Cignetti 2 years to become a head coach at a big-time school.
A 101 in
his whole career.
That's a 101 in college football history.
Yeah. And
think of how long it took Ryan Day to win one at Ohio State. He had the best team in the country every single year.
Cignetti's what, 61, 62 years old?
Yeah.
So that is the exception, not the rule. And again, I agree. Yeah, we're in year 6 with one playoff appearance. I agree. Messi scored. Hell yeah. But
think of what he took over to when he got to Tennessee.
The cupboard was bare. We all know this. And yes, I know he's had 4 years, 5 years, whatever it looks like. I get it. But if you're ready to fire him and let him go, then just say that. Don't beat around the bush. Like if you don't think Heupel's a guy, then say that. Say it with your chest.
It's the question.
I think he is. I think he still has earned a right and opportunity to be our head football coach and make a legitimate run at this. Our defensive coordinator has sucked.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't had an offensive coordinator that could reproduce what Alex Golesh did. And we were a Hendon Hooker injury away from making a legitimate national championship run. So I am not going to accept that Heupel's not a good head coach or shouldn't be a head coach.
Well, again, it's always the question of, sure, you might not think Heupel's the guy, but who do you replace him with, right?
That can live up to what he's done.
There's two questions you got to ask. Who do you replace him with, and who would snatch up Heupel in a heartbeat?
I think a lot of
there's many schools that would snatch up Heupel in a heartbeat, and there's not many coaches that you could say, yes, that are truly available right now, better than this dude, unless you go and you find the next Cignetti, or you find a coach who can come in there and win right off the bat, an up and comer that you just get because you're not gonna get Cignetti, Lane Kiffin, Kirby Smart, Dan Lanning, Brian Day, like these guys who you would say are on Heupel's level or higher, like they're gone. So like, who are you going to replace him with? You have to find, Brian Hartline. Is he going to do great things at USF? Maybe he's the next one, right? You can't have Will Stein. He's not coming to Tennessee. He's our guy. We already know he is the next one, but you have to try to figure that out. Heupel is on a short leash, I think.
Sure.
What do you think he has? What do you think he has? Hammer 2, maybe 3 years to that?
I think he gets, as long as the wheels don't completely come off the wagon this season with starting a freshman quarterback, whatever that looks like, Faison, hopefully. Nothing against GMAC. I mean, if it's him, then fine. I am a fan of whoever puts their hands under that center's ass. Okay. But I think it's probably going to be Faison. And if it's Faison, especially if it's Faison, I think he gets a pass unless we just go 4-8 like Kentucky's going to do. So,
okay, 5-7, and I'll be okay with it.
Yeah, but the over under is 4.5, and I took the under. I gotta speak it into existence here.
I'll be okay with the jab if you at least just said 5-7.
Yeah. So I think he gets a pass as long as
no
it's
worse
not
than 6-6.
Yeah, I think 500. Because I think Faison Brandon is like the real deal. We can keep him here, and I think he legitimately has a chance to do something special at Tennessee with Coach Heupel. But then I think, after that second year, if we're not flirting with SEC championship game or, hosting a playoff game, something in that neighborhood, then I think there's going to be some hard conversations that are going to take place, and they rightfully should, right? So, but I think too, we've seen what the dollars, we've seen what the price tag is for a national championship football roster, right? Ohio State kind of set that precedent with theirs, and
was it like 25-ish million?
Yeah.
Now we're getting up to about 40.
Yeah, now it's going on up. I remember A&M a few years ago had a $30 million roster and got their coach fired with it. So money isn't everything, but it damn sure helps. Yeah. Because we did it with basketball. We're probably going to have to do the same thing with football if we're going to be able to, and that's true for anybody, man. I don't care what kind of coach you bring in. If you don't have the funds to go get the elite players, Cignetti, again, is the unicorn, is the wild exception. Caught lightning in a bottle. He's a hell of a coach. That was a hell of a team. But that is going to be incredibly difficult to replicate.
And he had elite players too, though, and he built them a lot of them from his time at James Madison, then plucked some guys out of the transfer portal too. But,
I'm sorry, Gary.
But the Cignetti thing is still 1-on-1. We've never seen anything like that, and we'll never see it again.
No, I don't think we will. And especially taking a team the status of Indiana football, right? Yeah. We're not talking about he went into Oklahoma or he went into USC or he went into Penn State or somewhere that historically is a good program and breathed some life into it. He took basically the doormat of the Big Ten and turned him into a national champion.
Really Power 5 football.
So
I mean, statistically, they were weren't they the worst? They were legitimately the doormat.
Yeah, quite possibly the worst team. Yeah. So unbelievable job. And I have all the respect in the world for him. And, he's got a little swagger and little, people would say arrogance to him, but that's my kind of guy, man. I want somebody that's confident, that's going to say.
Did you hear the story, the Cignetti story? I think they paid a bunch of money for a transfer, I think, from Michigan. It's a corner or somebody from Michigan. I can't remember the player's name. Not really important. Anyways, he showed up to practice in these fancy gold football cleats, right? All GQ'd out, look good, play good, the whole primetime mentality. And Cignetti walked over to him and was like, "We don't do that here.
Yeah.
Go back to locker room. I don't care how much money I'm paying you. Right now, we don't do that here." And he just holds up. This was before he won the championship. This was this year's team, but he took them to the playoff. Proven he was a great coach, and that's the kind of in this NIL era right now where the players have so much power. You have to have that kind of aura. You have to be able to walk up to him like, "Hey, dog, I don't care. We just paid you a bunch of money. We don't do that here. And if you want to do it again, your ass should hit the bench."
Yeah.
Yep.
And it shows you're a great coach if you're able to still get into your players when they're getting paid that much money. That's the difference.
Thanks, Josh.
That's the difference in great coaches right now in today's day and age, college sports, and bad coaches. Can you still relate? Can you still dig into your players and hold them accountable when they're getting paid $100,000 plus or $50,000 plus? Can you still coach them and do it the right way? That's the great coaches. I think Kirby can still do it. Obviously, Signetti can do it. I go on. Dan Lanning can do it. That's what separates great coaches. You can all be buddy in the offseason and you're signing all these guys and paying money, but when the shit hits the fan and when there's adversity or when you're out there in practice and the dude's goofing off, can you still lay into them like we saw 10 to 15 years ago in college sports and still get the best out of your players? And it doesn't turn into, well, I'm getting paid anyways, I just quit. And I think at times, I mean, it's been one of my worries with Mark Pope. Like, can he really dig deep while players are still getting paid and bring the best out of his guys when adversity hits? That's what separates great coaches. And shows that Cincinnati did that because they obviously went on to go win a national championship and go undefeated at Indiana.
Well, the reason why those great coaches do that, not to get off on a tangent here, but the reason why those great coaches do that is because they identify who the guys they can play and rely on, right? So if he would have paid this dude from Michigan State or you talk about Dan Lanning, who I think is a great coach. I think we also have to agree that he is a methamphetamine user. The way that he acts on the others, for sure, that is not natural. But he, if you still have to do that in this era, because if someone's going to quit or if they're going to be like, I'm getting paid a bunch of money, I have just identified that I do not want you on my football team, and I have made a character, assessment before, and it was wrong. But I'll rather have that sit on the bench and not be a problem on the field or locker room or just get you going, right? So it is important. You have to keep doing it. It's probably been more important now to do it because you have to identify early. Like, I went and got this player because he's super talented, but he doesn't have the mentals to be coached by me or lead my team. So maybe I'll use him, but not in the way I was going to, not as my all-star, like go-to captain, right? You have to be able to still do that, and it's even more important now. Who can I really lean on, coach hard, and responds well without folding? Because those moments on the practice field, when they translate to the game, right? That's when it's really critical.
Definitely.
Yeah, and guys like that, like Signetti, I mean, he's kind of the old school coach, right? I mean, he coached under Nick Saban, and he's just no nonsense, tough love, kind of coach, because that's the generation that he came up in. So, yeah, if you play for him, then you're going to do it his way, period. And I respect the hell out of him for that he won't waver. He doesn't care who you are. He doesn't care what the name on the back of your jersey is. He cares about the one on the front and what's best for that. So Josh asked me, do I think Tennessee can win 9 games this season? Well, sure. The chance is never zero. The Texas game obviously is going to be huge. That's probably the biggest understatement of the year right there. But I honestly think the Georgia Tech game is going to be equally as important because it's going to kind of set the tone for what the season's going to be, especially with a test like that early with a young quarterback.
Yeah. Are they still going to be the Georgia Tech we've seen the last couple of years, or is King now being gone? Are they going to go back to being not great?
Yeah, that's entirely possible.
Mendoza's brother's their starter, isn't he?
I'm sorry?
I think Mendoza's brother is their starting quarterback now. And they got 2 studs at running back.
Yeah, they've got running backs. I know for sure. I don't know who the starter is.
I'm pretty sure
under center, and it sounds right because I think I remember him transferring.
He did transfer there. I don't know if they.
Yeah, I don't know what it looks like, but you get Texas and then a new look Auburn. You have to go to Arkansas. Not really concerned about that. We host Bama. They're also making a quarterback change. First-year starter there as well. Then we have to go to South Carolina. That game is going to be a little concerning. Host Kentucky. Then we play at A&M. We host LSU. And then we go kick the shit out of Peabody. So I think it all is going to hinge on those two big-time early games at Georgia Tech and versus Texas. It's in Atlanta. We're the visiting team at a neutral site. But I think those two games right there are very pivotal for our season. If we can win both of those and then we split the Bama LSU, then I think we can win 9.
If the
I know,
isn't
but the
completely
volleyball
in
player,
shambles by that
the
point.
volleyball player ran out of bounds on 4th down with no time on the clock. So it's kind of hard to win when you do that.
He did that and then asked for a raise.
Yeah.
I think
that-
Papa Nico asked for that raise.
Yeah, that'd be like me driving the $250,000 bucket truck off a bridge and then going to my partner and say, "Hey, can we get a better bucket truck?"
Yeah, for $1 million or something.
Yeah, let's get the $1 million one, the DOT, big DOT version of it. Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, you got to at least put the ball in the air, right? On 4th down with no time on the clock, running out of bounds probably is not. There's probably better decisions you could make.
Yeah.
It's a shame because I Nico in the Ohio State game, even though y'all got railed.
He tough as hell.
Exactly. Like I thought, okay, like that. I thought that was a key moment for Nico. Like he didn't play great, but he was tough as hell, helmet shattering, like stepping up for the team. And that was the best version of Nico for it. I mean, I don't understand what happened there, but
we'll see this year.
If you're a Tennessee fan, unfortunately, because it's like, I don't know, I enjoyed watching Tennessee lose, but even in the moment, I'm like, golly, this dude is leaving it out all on the field, man. Like he did everything he could in that game.
Yeah, absolutely. There was no question of his heart, and the mantra. Got it right back here. I will give my all for Tennessee today. Well, he gave his all and then some. He looked like the only guy out there that was even putting forth any effort. And he just got absolute hell beat out of him. And he just kept getting up and just going right back out there. So I don't hold any ill will for him for when he was here. And it's not really him personally. It's really more his camp, his dumbass dad, giving him some really bad advice and making some really poor decisions. But unfortunately, it's a package deal. So,
gents, what else is on the show docket? I'm gonna log off here in a little bit. And we're gonna get some chow and hang out in the hotel room before we get up tomorrow and do the trip again.
I think that's it. Unless
I think
something-
that's it. Yeah, I had a little Mount Rushmore type thing ready, but I didn't know who all was going to be here. Well, I didn't complete it because it was just going to be. I knew Drew and I, and then you potentially were going to be, but Coach Ryan couldn't make it. Was not here, so we'll save it for next. We'll save it for next weekend. If when are you making touchdowns in? Virginia?
I will be I'll be in Kentucky on the 3rd. Going to spend the 4th with the family, and then we'll be in Virginia on the 6th. Let's see what's next Wednesday. Wednesday will be the 1st. The 1st. Oh yeah, it'll be good. Yeah, because we're gonna get somewhere and make the trip so we can be somewhere during the soccer match, so I can watch that one. It'll be depend on. I think we're gonna try to stay in the RV that night, so it'll depend on the Wi-Fi connectivity at the spot. But yeah, I'll depend on jumping on Wednesday.
If not, we'll hold it down.
Oh yeah, y'all doing. I appreciate you still doing these shows. I thought we were gonna have a gap in it, but y'all holding it down for sure. And I just jump in when I can, so I appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, shoot.
But I do. I
Wow,
get the notification from YouTube that Heavy Pour Sports is going live, and I get a little FOMO. You know.
Yeah, I know, man. I know.
What
100%.
are those knuckleheads doing?
Yeah, when I was in Vegas, I was worried. It was like, oh, man, do I just need to pop in there and just check, see what's going on, see what kind of nonsense randos spewing and talking about me while I'm not here. So, but yeah, so next Saturday, I'm assuming we won't do a show at all, right? The 4th.
I mean, we'll see. Probably not.
I'd probably be saying some weird stuff.
Yeah. Well, we plan on doing this on Sunday. We can do something on Sunday if everybody's free.
Yeah, we could do that.
Sure.
Boys, I had my going away yesterday. One, I got to show you the going away gift my team got me. It's pretty dope. I'll show it on the Wednesday show. I laid it on thick last night, which was not smart, knowing I'm getting ready to do an 8.5 hour drive to the next day. There might not have been a drop of bourbon left in that establishment.
How'd you feel when you woke up?
Surprisingly, not bad. Just tired.
Yeah.
It was one of those nights where I didn't go to sleep. I passed out. That's just kind of how it went. But my last day with the team, we had to have a good time.
Yeah, just celebrate.
Yeah, happy hour early. But yeah, team took care of me. Definitely bittersweet. Left today. Took a picture of my office empty. I walked outside. My name placard already been changed. The new dude taking over. I'm like, I was driving out of California, driving past $5.95 gas prices. Didn't feel bad about that, but I was like leaving the team, and going in and going from having Marines to not anymore. That was bittersweet. So it's definitely hitting me. But glad to on to the next chapter. He cried, maybe a little bit.
That's okay. We'll allow it.
Yeah, that was my mother.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah. What's up? But or my other dad.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't explain anything. We're all family here, so it's all good.
That's a story for another day. But yeah, man, it was good. Got to get out of there, and but yeah, bittersweet moment. But looking forward to the East Coast. That's for sure.
For sure, it'll be great to have you on the East Coast. We just got to get T over here somehow, then, and we'll all be back in the same region. And
yeah, we'll send some pictures with T and his family. I'm going to crash his house tomorrow, so it'll be a good time.
Oh yeah, for real. Yeah, definitely do that. So, but no, man, that was pretty much it. Like I said, we'll push that back for another day when we got the full ensemble, and then so I've said everything I know and made up the rest.
Keep doing it. You're great at it, and keep gambling on footy because you're doing great. Before I jump off and let you all close it, Gary's on it, and he made mention. He was like, "Hey, the shirt looks great. The shirt feels great. This right here, you can get. I think you even get a Tennessee version of this one. QR code right up there. Heavy Pour 50% off. You can still get the soccer shirt. You can still get it. It's available. Mine is getting shipped to Richmond, so we got to at least win one. We got to win one and knock it around so I can get my shirt before the damn thing's over with, so I can wear it for the next match. But you can get the Heavy Pour U.S. Men's National Team shirt on there as well. Tennessee, Kentucky, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Bourbon Lovers. It's all there. Gary from bluegrass-elite.com. Get your stuff. But hey, guys, thanks for letting me jump on and crash the show halfway through. I know it throws off the vibe, but I will see you all on Wednesday.
Yeah, safe travels.
Yeah, man. Be safe. Enjoy the experience and the journey, and look forward to having you back on land for good. So,
yes, sir. All right, y'all have a good one. Go
see you,
Cats.
brother.
Peace.
All right, Drew. Well, I don't have anything else. I think we covered everything we set out to do. Awesome job as always.
Yep.
Great. It's always great to share space with you, whether it's on camera, off camera, in the chat, whatever it is, man.
Oh yeah. Glad we I got a little nervous there for a bit. I didn't know if we were going live or not, but hey, we made it work. Got about a 2-hour live stream in tonight, catching up. So, anytime we can hop on and talk some sports, shoot the shit, it's always a good time.
Hell yeah. So, well, again, who knows? We may be back next Saturday. I know 4th of July, some folks isn't a big deal. Other folks, we'll see you on Sunday evening when you wake and sober up. So we'll play it by ear, but we will definitely be back and see you here Wednesday for the late night Border Rivals show. Hope everybody has a great rest of your weekend. And until next time, go Vols.
Go Big Blue.
And to quote our friend Rando, peace.
On a whole nother level. Let's get it. Run it up. Check the scope. Money talk, money mo. Yeah. Main crew say they weed it. Kicking down the door. Run it up. Check the scope. Money talk, money mo. What? Main crew say they weed it. Kicking down the door. Let's go. And it's just the whole lane when I'm driving the machine.